I'm Kiera Morgan. Thanks for joining me for Coffee with Kiera on Pacific Northwest News and Entertainment. We are in the beautiful town of Toledo with our wonderful mayor, Rod Cross.
Hi, Kiera.
Hi, I'm so glad you were able to meet with us today. So much is going on in this beautiful town. It's summer. You just had Summerfest this last weekend. Super popular, always brings lots of folks to town, and it's always fun, great camaraderie with the folks that live around here. So let's get some updates. You've been taking on the role as mayor for a while now. Let's get some updates on how things are going.
Well, I've started my second time around in this position back in January. I had left office at the end of 2010, the first time. And the voters deemed it okay for me to come back. So I must have done some things right back in the first go around. So we've been doing a lot here within the city, and we've got more to do. One of the big things we've been working on is getting our sewer system, getting some financing in. We have got some of that in place so that we can start working on some of the upgrades that are needed in the system. Other things that we're working on is the biosolid issue, which I know has become a hot topic, not just here in the county, but also across our state. And we have some things in the works. I don't want to go completely public with them yet, but hopefully over the next 6 weeks, more and more things will come to fruition and we'll be able to come right out with it.
And we'll let you know as soon as he knows. We'll let you know.
Definitely. I will definitely give you a call, Kiera. Probably the biggest major piece of news that occurred just before this weekend is that City Manager Craig Martin and the City of Toledo, we have mutually agreed to accept his early retirement. So he will be moving on by the end of September, and it's our job as a council to help get at least an interim in place before that time. And Craig has very graciously accepted to stick around till then and help us get one in place. So we're very, very thankful for that, and we're thankful for the years of service he's given us here in Toledo. There are a lot of things that have happened. We've been out in the community a little bit more than we have been in the past, which is a good thing. We just got done sitting in a city booth for 3 days down at the summer festival and meeting and greeting people. So we're trying to keep our best face forward. It's new for a lot of people, especially the councilors. You know, they're used to one-on-ones like this, not talking to a whole lot of people at one time. So it's been an interesting weekend. But you know, we're still going to continue to keep moving forward. There's always projects to be done in the city, and we're going to keep moving on.
So you have some folks that are new to the council and some that are experienced. Is that a good blend?
We've got an exceptional council right now, I believe, because we have councilors that not only have experience being on a council, but our new councilors have a lot of life experience, and that's what it takes to make a good council, is varying points of view, because not any one of us has the answers to every problem. And so we've been able to sit down and hash stuff out in a good, positive manner and work towards the betterment of our city, not anyone's agenda. So it's been a very good 6 months.
Have things improved as far as relations with the community, do you feel?
Well, I'll be honest, I think so. I haven't been stopped near as much in the last couple months as I had been the first few months I was in office.
We're not talking about your police record.
Oh, we don't talk about that now. We don't talk about that. But I think things are starting to mellow out, and I think the community is starting to come back together, which was my goal all along. A community that's divided won't function, and we had to get people focused and on the same page going forward, and I think we've been able to do that. There have been issues that we've had to struggle with, and the staff that we have done an excellent job getting us through them. I want to commend our city recorder, our city attorney, and others in the office there that have helped us navigate some really rough waters at times, and they've done a great job for us.
Without a really great supportive staff, a city just can't function.
Never. The staff, they're very professional, and I have to commend them again on what they do. It's a hard job because you're never going to make people happy. I mean, it's like being an official in sports. 50% of the crowd's going to be mad at you no matter what you do. And when you're up front with the people as they are, they're not going to run into all the people that say, oh, you're doing a great job, thank you. They're going to run into all the people that are saying, you suck. And, unfortunately, that's the nature of the business. And, very rarely do I get talked to about how good we're doing, but I'll hear every naysayer that comes along. So,
well, that's why we're doing this, because there are a lot of positive things that are going on with Toledo.
Yes, there are.
And we want to bring that to light. So the budget this year went through lots of budget meetings.
Oh boy.
Lots of communication. Let's talk about that.
Well, the budget this year was much better than the year before. We ironed out a lot of, they're not problems, but they're just issues that needed to be dealt with. And that's one of the things that's coming up this coming Wednesday. We're going to start looking at, what are the things we want to see in next year's budget? How do we want it to look? How do we want that budget to function? And so taking the lessons, because, three of us were new on this council and working with this particular group. And we have a new finance director, Judy Richter. And, Judy came in at the end of February. Well, usually you have all your basic budget stuff done by the end of February. She had to scramble and get stuff going. And she did an outstanding job putting together the numbers. And during the entire course of the 20 hours of budget hearings, she did a great job taking changes, making them to the budget right there in front of us. She was able to do it right there on the spreadsheet, projected on the wall. So we got to the end of it. We had a budget we could all live with, and that we think is going to allow us to move forward with several projects this coming year. So all in all, it was a good budget cycle, different for me, but still good in the end.
Well, and again, it comes down to, I think you'll agree, everybody communicating what they expect.
Exactly, and that's why we've got to start that conversation now, so that when the next city manager is on full time, hopefully that will be beginning of next year's budget cycle, and they'll have a list. This is what we expect to see in it. This is how we expect the document to flow. Of course, stay exactly within Oregon budgetary law, but Craig was my fourth city manager. And so for me, I've seen about every different way you can do a budget possible so far. So for me, I just want us to sit down and line out what this council expects out of that budget. Not what Rod Cross expects, not what any other councilor expects, but what we expect. Something we all can agree on.
And going back to getting a new city manager on board, what is that process going to entail?
Well, to start with, I made a phone call this morning to League of Oregon Cities. I also called CIS, our insurance carrier. Both of them can help supply us with lists of names going forward to fulfill an interim, which hopefully will be on board no later than the end of next month. For the main hire, we will probably go through LGPI, the Local Government Personnel Institute, and they will do most of the early heavy lifting for us, sort through various resumes and whatnot, and then give to us the top 10 or 15 people for us to consider, and then going forward with that, that'll be a council decision. I've done phone interviews for that initial 10 to 15. I've done in-person interviews because most of them are close by. And then at the end, when you pare that down to your final 3 to 5, one thing that a previous council did that I really appreciated is they had a meet and greet.
I was just going to ask if you were going to get the public
involved.
involved.
So we want to have a meet and greet where all the candidates get to say a blurb about themselves, say what their vision is, and then mingle with the public for a couple hours, and then let the public, sheet of paper, vote how, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, however many are there, so that we can get their input on it. I think that, having a community behind what we do is vital in making sure we stay unified. And I don't like to just give, quote, community input. I want it to be real. I don't want it to be just a bone we toss them. Because we're too small of a community. I don't know about anybody else, but I know who lives on half the streets in this town and where they live.
We were just talking about that before we started the video. Of course, my lovely daughter Sarah has lived here almost all her life. And she was talking about, oh yeah, I know you. I'm friends with your neighbors. I've seen you walk your dog.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's everybody knows everybody, and everybody knows a little of everything.
And one of the things that I pride myself in is being able to understand that we don't have to agree to get along. We can have differences of opinion. We can have different outlooks on things. But that doesn't mean that either one of us aren't for what's best for Toledo. It just means we have a different viewpoint. So how do we get all those viewpoints together? We do it by talking to people. We do it by bringing them in, getting them to voice their concerns, finding out what makes them tick, what makes them think that Toledo's the best. I was reminded by Michael Gibbons the other day of a sign out in Joseph. And I think, speaking with Chief Pace last night, I think he's looking at putting one of these up because the sign going into Joseph says, "This is our little slice of heaven. Please don't drive like hell through it." And
I love it.
And I think it's perfect. Because that's how we feel about Toledo. I chose this community to raise my kids in, all 5 sons. And I wouldn't have chosen any other place. We love it here. And obviously, so do a lot of other people. So what can we do to keep this community going forward?
Absolutely right. And it's a beautiful, wonderful community with lots of fantastic folks who really do truly care about each other and care about their neighbors. And that's evident in a lot of the things that they do here. So let's talk a little bit about infrastructure.
Okay.
So like other areas of Lincoln County, the infrastructure, the pipes and water and everything else is a little on the older side.
You are so nice.
I know.
So our water intake, so everything leading to our plant, coming from the Siletz, so the pump station in Siletz and all the pipe that comes out to it and the water treatment plant are all pretty much up to snuff as of 2013, okay? But we still have issues with the distribution system. The sewer system is no different. We have a whole lot of infrastructure needs that just have to do, as you said, with age. There are still clay sewer pipes in the ground.
Really?
Yes, and so,
So that's what, over 50 years old?
Oh, let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Keep going back. That's older than Newport's system.
Well, according to my sons, that's older. That's not older than me, but close. And you have to understand, they claim that I walked on the bottom of the Red Sea with Moses, so that should give you an idea.
My kids say the same thing about me.
And you didn't look a day over 300, don't worry.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
So that, of course, takes money. And that's that, I call it the double-edged sword, where you need as much money as you can to get these replaced. It's a lot more expensive, and you want to get really good stuff that's going to last, again, for another
50, 60
years.
Right.
But to do that, as I said, it takes money. On the other hand, folks here have a hard time with paying out more in property taxes and things like that. And it's hard for, of course, seniors, those who are disabled, low income. What's the solution there?
Well, one of the things we did, and we just completed that at our last meeting, was we're having decent economic times, so we have a little bit more flexibility within the city budget. So this year, and hopefully we can continue this on down the road, but at least for this next year, normally our streetlight fee is $7.50. We've lowered that to $2.50.
Lowering is good.
But we've taken that $5 that we lowered it by, and we're adding it to the sewer charge.
Oh, well,
So
okay.
there's no
That's
change.
redirecting, not lowering.
Right. Well, it's not changing their bill.
Right. Okay.
And we felt it was vital that even though we do need this money in the sewer system to begin to do all the I&I repairs, that's inflow and infiltration, and take care of these older pipes and try to get the system functioning the way it should, we need to get that money redirected into that system. And so we saw that as a way to do it without impacting people's pocketbooks.
That's great. And like you said, as long as it doesn't, change the bill, it's
Right.
just redirecting the money, then that works really well. Are there grants and things out there that can help you with these kinds of things as well?
Well, that's what's interesting. I have always found it interesting with grant funding that when it comes to infrastructure, you get grant funding because you've made a mistake. And we made a mistake for a few years where we didn't take care of things as well as we should have. And so we are under a memorandum of agreement, I think is the name for it, with DEQ to do over $2 million worth of work in the next couple of years.
Ouch.
But we've managed to get a lot of that in loans.
Oh, good.
So, I mean, in grants, we've got around, I think we're shooting for around 800,000 in grants out of the 2 million. And it looks like we got a good chunk to start with. I believe we got almost $500,000 in a grant earlier to begin this project. So hopefully we'll get to add to that because that's what we went through with the water system. Because we've been so good taking care of the water system, they looked at us and said, "Oh, you silly boys, you don't qualify for any grant
you're
funding."
not broken.
Yes,
We don't need to fix you.
Exactly. So now the shoe's on the other foot, and we were broken, and we need to get fixed. And so the state has offered us grant funding along with very low interest loans to help us get that back online.
So we're coming up towards the end of summer, and what are some things that are going on that we can expect from the city of Toledo? Do you have some things coming up that you want to talk about?
Well, the chamber has their swap meet. That'll come up in the first weekend in August. And then shortly after that, on the second Tuesday, we're going to have the National Night Out with the police department. The Wooden Boat Show will be coming up in August. The annual Art Walk will be coming up Labor Day weekend at the end of August, beginning of September. Hopefully this year, Main Street Trick or Treat will be up again and running. We're hoping that weather permitting and we don't have the torrential rain that we've been having, we'll be able to have the kids' lighted parade again. So we're hoping to get those things back on track again.
Are there some things that maybe have been done in the past that you might be bringing back?
Well, this hasn't been done in the past, but we're going to hold a town hall.
Oh.
I believe we're shooting for a Saturday in September, and if the weather's good, we'll do it outside, probably in conjunction with the port at the amphitheater down there, or at Memorial Field. Some people are afraid that it'll just be a shouting match, and I'm okay with that. I've been a coach for a long time. I'm used to people yelling at me. We need to tap in more to what the public's going to have, and so Heather Jukic, Councilor Jukic, has taken the lead on this. I think that our experience running a barbecue, because this will hopefully be the third time in 4 months that we've ran a barbecue, that'll help get people out to the event. And
Food always
food
works.
Food works. So hopefully we can get more community letting us know, what are you looking for? A lot of things that we've done in the past, some geared up a life of their own. You know, Summer Festival, National Night Out, those type of things started as one person's vision. And they've grown into an annual community event, and I'm hoping we can keep doing that.
Like Lights of Hope.
That's coming up in August
great
also.
Event.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to supporting that event as well.
Good.
And of course, Toledo has always been very supportive with the different departments, like the police department, working with the kids, the cadet programs, things like that. You've got a new police chief, a new
Chief Michael
fire
Pace.
chief, and soon a new city manager. So how do you think this will all work together? How will these dynamics work together?
I think they'll work together well. I'm very pleased with the choices that Craig made for Chief of Police and for our Fire Chief. I think Chief Robeson's going to do an outstanding job as Fire Chief. And I've known Michael since his first year here. We had an encounter his first year here, and he is not the young guy wet behind his ears that he was back then. He's matured into a very outstanding officer, and I think he'll make Toledo proud.
I think he's going to be a really good leader. All right, anything else that you'd like to add, Mayor Cross?
Well, one of the things that we're looking at doing, and it's going to cost us probably anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000, is we're going to do a rate study on both our sewer and our water rates over this year. The last time one of these were done was before I was mayor the first time.
Oh, so it's been a while.
So we need to do something on this and try to get back to where we're recouping what the system needs. I said this on the campaign trail, and I'm going to say it probably till I die. Infrastructure equates to civilization. And when people know that when they flush a toilet, it leaves their house and it is taken care of and not just dumped in a sidewalk. When they turn on the water and it's clean, drinkable water, and our water is some of the best in the state. When those things are happening and our streets are well maintained, and people don't have to be concerned with that, that's when people can do the dreaming that we need to do as a civilization to continue to have that civilization.
Absolutely, I agree with you 100%. When people don't have to worry, they can put their efforts into other things.
That's right.
And make the community more profitable and viable.
Yes.
All right. Well, I want to thank my dear friend Rod Cross for joining me in Toledo today. It is a beautiful day, and we're so happy to be here.
Well, that's always like that here.
It is. It's always like this.
It's always a beautiful day in Toledo.
Thanks for joining me today in the beautiful town of Toledo for Coffee with Kiera, sponsored by The Human Being, in Newport on Highway 101 and 6th Street, and in Lincoln City at the north end of Highway 101. With Mayor Rod Cross, I'm Kiera Morgan on Pacific Northwest News and Entertainment.